Happy Friday morning, everybody. As y'all are coming in, give me your locations in the comments. Shout out your locations leave a comment shouting out your location. If you have not texted me yet, make sure you send a text message to my number 305 384 6894 with the word live to get all the live benefits. Text the word mastermind to learn about my mastermind. And number three, mirror, mirror of motivation. Put your locations in the comments. I will tell you all that it is humid in South Florida. We had a little bit of cool weather for about 2 3 days. It is humid. I can feel the humidity. I got the window open right now. I might have to close it. It is humid out here in South Florida. This morning, I got the fan turned all the way up. I got the AC active, but the humidity is here. I appreciate it. I'm not complaining. I'm just pointing it out. As y'all coming in again, locations in the comments, locations in the comments, locations in the comments, locations in the comments. Tell me your location in the comment. Today, good news and bad news. Which one do you want first? I give you the bad news first. Actually, I give you the bad news and the good news at the same time because it's the same news. We are not talking about Candace Owens today. All right? So I don't know if that's bad news or good news. Depending on who you are, you might be happy, you might be disappointed. Candace did put out a new episode yesterday. You should go watch it, draw your own conclusions. We'll talk about her again sometime in the future. Just not today. We're not going to talk about Candace Owens today. So the bad news is we're not talking about Candace Owens. The good news is we are not talking about Candace Owens. But more good news, we are talking about the other gift. There's one other gift in the world that always gives, that always delivers. Candace Owens has inserted herself into that group of the gift that keeps on giving. It was a group of one. It was a group of one subject that always gave. But Candace Owens has become the second subject that always gives. So thank you, Candace Owens, for becoming the second gift that continually gives. So we got to give Candace Owens some recognition for that. Thank you, Candace, for becoming the second gift that keeps on giving. The first gift that keeps on giving has always been around. That is President Donald Trump. That's what we're going to talk about here today. Donald Trump addressed the nation 2 days ago, and we're going to talk about that here today. So as y'all are coming in, again, locations in the comments, we're going to talk about what he said, the significance of it, if it matters. Another reason why I might feel so hot in here today is because I have this dress shirt that I'm wearing, this extra thick cotton. This is not breathable cotton. This is hotel conference room cotton. This is not actually all cotton. It's hotel conference room material. Y'all don't know what that means. Hotel conference rooms are always cold. So this would be perfect to wear in a hotel conference room. Not so much on a humid morning in Miami. So I got to take a mental note. Maybe I shouldn't wear this shirt if I'm going to be doing these live streams, but this shirt is kind of thick. Anyway, locations in the comments, everybody. We have Kingworth 21 from Tuscaloosa. Good morning, sir. Belford Williams, Oklahoma is in the building. Started a new business that helps people find jobs after college. You put up jobs and blogs. That's what's up. Congratulations to you. Shout out to people starting businesses out here. As you shout yourselves out, let me shout a few people out over on TikTok. We are on Rumble, YouTube, X, LinkedIn. My name is Dre All Day on those. Facebook is Work on Your Game University. Instagram is Dre Baldwin, and TikTok is Work on Your Game, in case y'all didn't know. 140.6 Walnut Creek, California. Good morning. Barbie Triple O checking in from Miami. Dwayne Mitchell, Detroit in the house. Angela from Rocky Mount, California. Courtney from Nashville. Sherry from Michigan. Carol Ann Collins, Newburgh, New York. Ray from Absecon, Jersey. Debbie, good morning. Linda Gale from St. Louis. Tristan from Delhi. What's Delaware? Is that what y'all call it? People in Delaware call it Delhi. I've never heard that before, and I'm from Philadelphia. I've never heard Delhi. I heard Philly from Philadelphia. I never heard Delhi. Debbie from Southwest Florida. Southwest. So shout out to Naples. I don't know if you're in Naples, but shout out to that area. Very clean area. Clean and quiet area. I like that area. One King Cam from Washington, D.C. Bella's mom, good morning. Chris Jazz from Rhode Island. Tim Rice from Northwestern Alabama. I think you're the first person from there to shout themselves out. So shout out to Tim Rice. Marky Man from Sacramento. Sarah L. checking in from Naples. It is real humid today. It is. I like humidity, even though I'm wearing a suit. I appreciate the humidity. I appreciate being hot. I'd rather be hot than cold. Debbie, number 2 gifted badge. Congrats. Bella's mom said it's bad. We're not talking about Candace Owens, so don't worry. We'll be back to her probably very soon. Leah checking in from Tifton, Georgia. Ron Johnson from Lima, Ohio. Keep on living, says strawberry cheesecake. But we might get to that today. Andrea checking in from Massachusetts. Bella's mom said, "You always look so nice, very handsome." Well, thank you, Bella's mom. I agree. Keep on living said, easily the lowest IQ of any president we've had with zero morality. So keep on living for life. How do you really feel about President Trump?
Is that like a personal attack or something?
So congrats on getting the ad hominem, first ad hominem award of the day. I didn't even say anything yet. You already insulting President Trump. But congratulations to you. Gene, good morning, New York. Bianca Jimenez from Houston. Jimenez. Murphy Demutt from Bristol. Madi from San Antonio. Tucker 23, Kansas is in the building. I'll shout out a few more people, and then we'll get going here, folks. Kristen Lowe from Statesville, North Carolina. Greg, thanks for the follow. Anthony from Dallas. Bianca Houston. Rain from Shelton, Connecticut. Happiness Now, ATL. Miranda from the Hoosier State, Indiana. Suzanne from Daytona Beach, Florida. Debbie said Naples, exactly. Yeah, shout from Naples. Bianca, Houston. Bianca, I got it. You're checking in from Houston. You said it like 5 times. I see you. Shout out to Houston. Kristen, Christ Energy. I keep saying Kristen. Christ Energy, Lincoln, Nebraska. Katie checking in from Ohio. Laughing Puppy from Seattle. TV from Toro, Wyoming. Shout out to Wyoming. I've actually been to Wyoming, believe it or not. Shout out to everybody in Wyoming. Ray Nay from Connecticut. Oh, so keep on living life. You were trying to get the soundboard turned on. All right, congratulations. Kanza Dunamis, thanks for the follow. Lin from Chicago. King's Treasure from Tuscaloosa. And Frank checking in from Tampa. And who was that? Bougie Bud from Louisiana. TJ Herman from Montana. Shout out to Montana. So the topic here today is Donald Trump. Donald Trump addressed the nation a couple days ago. He did this 2 nights ago. We didn't talk about it yesterday because we were talking about the other gift he keeps on giving, which is Candace Owens. But he delivered a rare primetime national address. Those of you who didn't see it, he spoke for about 20 minutes. He spoke from the diplomatic reception room, for whatever that matters, rather than from the Oval Office, which is a little bit different. So this signals that it's a formal speech, but it's campaign adjacent. It was aimed at shaping public perception heading into 2026. So Donald Trump understands what he's up against. That 2026, the midterms are coming up. Generally, what happens when the midterms come up, which happens in the middle of the term of the president, that's why they call it midterms, but it's the end of the term for some people in Congress. That's why they got to run again. Is often the congressional setup will flip if the president has the same side controlling Congress that the president is. So let me say that more clearly. If the president is Republican, as he is now, and Congress is Republican, the House and the Senate, that is, Congress is 2 sides, the House and the Senate, then usually what happens is the Congress will flip from being all Republican from the executive branch to the legislative branch, and Congress is the legislative branch, to the other side balancing things out, quote unquote, by the Democrats winning. So Donald Trump understands that he is fighting an uphill battle right now in getting the Republicans to maintain control of Congress, or at least a simple majority of Congress in 2026. Because, again, the natural balance of power of things is we get the back and forth. This is the reason why you don't see 10 straight Democratic presidents or 10 straight either side running Congress. It always bounces back and forth. Why? Because there's always going to be people unhappy with the current status quo. So they're going to go against the status quo and ask for something different. So Donald Trump understands that for him to maintain control, not of the White House, but of the legislature, or at least have the majority on his side, they are fighting an uphill battle because nature says the Democrats are going to win in 2026. One reason amongst many that I think the Democrats are going to win in 2026. And when I say win, what I mean is they would take control. If it happened today, Democrats would take control of both the House of Representatives and the Senate if the elections were today. Donald Trump understands this, and that's why he is going on the offensive, which he has to do, because we're about 10 months away from that election. And if he loses that, he won't be able to get a damn thing done for the rest of his term. And he's going to get impeached. So he's trying to shape public perception. Now, the speech focused heavily on defending his administration's current achievements. We're going to get into that. Economics, upcoming economic boom that he is claiming is going to happen. That would help him a lot if that happens. Blaming immigration on Biden. Every president blames the previous president for any ongoing problems. And a new policy initiative for the military. So this is softening inflation is happening, but rising unemployment is happening. So it's a give and take. Job growth is kind of weak right now. So jobs are growing. There are more jobs, but not as fast as maybe desired. And declining approval ratings on the economy, making it a high-stakes attempt to reset the narrative before the midterms. And usually, I've told y'all this over and over again, the elections, federal elections usually come down to money in more ways than one. But the way that I'm referring to here when I say it comes down to money is that if people feel good about the money, then they keep whoever's in office. And if people feel bad about the money, then they reject whoever's in office and vote for the other side. This is one of the main reasons Donald Trump won in 2024, because people were feeling pessimistic about the money. Costs were going up. Groceries cost too much. People weren't making enough money. People couldn't afford to live. And who's the president? A Democrat? Okay, let's vote for the Republican. It's one of the main reasons why Donald Trump won in 2024, aided by the fact that Kamala Harris was not a very good candidate. But if people feel pessimistic about the money in 2028, with Donald Trump as the president, and Kamala wins the nomination, which she very well could in 2028, she could win the next election. Even though she's the same person, probably be the same candidate with the same deficiencies that she had last year. In 2028, she could win if people feel pessimistic enough about the money, because the Republicans will be in charge. Oh, is the Republicans, they're the problem. Let's vote for the Democrats. So this very well could happen, folks. So again, those of you who are not fans of Kamala, don't get cocky. Now, getting into what we're talking about here today, let me introduce myself first. For those who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin. Many know me as Dre all day, former 9-year pro athlete, author of a few books, done a few TEDx talks. I run this company called Work on Your Game Incorporated. Our main focus here, the main thing that we help people do is master communication. Communication is not just sitting in front of a camera and speaking as I'm doing now. It is also your internal dialogue, how you talk to yourself. It is your ability to observe and absorb. What are you noticing and picking up from other people? Not only what they say, but what they don't say. And how do you communicate even when you're not speaking and other people are not speaking? Your nonverbal communication, which makes up 85% of communication, by the way. So if you want to get better at mastering your communication, then you can come into my world. I have links and other things you can find out about that I've told you about. Go to my profile, go to my bio, click on something. It'll take you deeper into my world, or you can just text me at my number, 305-384-6894. Now let's get to it. Now, Trump framed the economy is on the verge of a historic boom. This is what Donald Trump's saying, that there's about to be a big economic boom. He says that the tariffs, the expansion on energy, and deregulation are going to trigger unprecedented growth in 2026. So he is going to basically architect an imminent turnaround rather than be a person who is taking care of lingering problems. I hope that Donald Trump is right. All of you should hope that Donald Trump is right. We want more money in the economy. We want everybody to have money, because if everybody has money, then everybody spends money. And if everybody spends money, that means everybody's making money. So that's the economy, is people having money and spending it. Or that's a healthy economy. People having money and spending it because they feel good about their future prospects with regards to money. So Donald Trump is predicting this. For those of you who don't understand that when it comes to the markets, the stock markets and just the economy in general is generally run by people's emotions. It is not, well, this company sold this and is this much money and the tariffs are this and inflation is this percentage. Yes, those things factor in. Those are the logical things that smart people like to argue about. But the real thing that drives the economy is how people feel. If people feel positive, they take the money they have and they spend it, which makes the economy move. If people feel negative, they take the money they have and they hold it, which makes the economy stagnate. That's all it is. So Donald Trump saying this, that there's about to be a big economic boom, a historic economic boom, he's actually trying to sway people's feelings to feel healthier about money. And just him saying this alone can make people start spending money more, which makes the economy move more, which helps him look good. And it actually makes the economy become the thing. So he's basically trying to, as some people like to say, speak it into existence that the economy is going to do well. This is literally how it works. It is very much about people's emotions and feelings, which is why any of you who's in the trading business or you're in the markets, you don't want to try to time the market, because you can't time people's emotions. Donald Trump is trying to predict people's emotions by basically telling them how they're going to feel. You're going to feel good because good things are about to happen, even though he may not know exactly what the good things are. What he's trying to do is get people to agree with him. And if they agree with him, they'll spend money. The economy starts moving, and he basically becomes like Miss Cleo. He predicted the future. So I hope he's right. Even if you don't like Donald Trump, you should hope that he's right. Because if the economy starts moving more, well, that means your customers are going to spend more money. Your job may give you a raise, and there's going to be more money to be made by everybody. So how could this be a bad thing? This would be great for everybody. So this is what he's claiming to do. Now, this is a classic forward-looking tactic that Trump is using to shift focus away from the current present pain, because a lot of people are pessimistic about money right now. And he's trying to get them to focus on the future where there will be money. So we'll see if this actually happens. Now, the optimism is clashing with current data. Unemployment is at 4.6%, which is generally higher than people want it to be. Anytime there's unemployment, people are going to be disappointed. So if you got 330 million people in America, 4.6%, how many people are we talking here? it was 100 million, that'd be about 4 million unemployed people. Triple that, so it's about 12 million unemployed people, roughly. This is very rough math. We're not counting kids and kids and people who are not eligible for the workforce, but that's a lot of people who don't have jobs. Even though 4.6 is a small number out of 100, 4.6 is pretty relatively small, but that's still each one of those people is somebody without a job or they're underemployed. So their affordability concerns. That just means I can't pay for gas, I can't pay for childcare, I can't pay my rent, I can't pay my car note. Even though I have these things, I can't keep paying for them. So that's another issue people have. And makes the speech feel disconnected from what many Americans are experiencing day to day. This is what the Democrats' job is, to reframe whatever he just said and say, well, he lied about that, and that. Here's the truth. The job of the Democrats is to make it seem like everything this current administration and Congress is doing is failing because the current administration and Congress are both Republican. So if they make it seem like everything the legislation is doing is failing, that means we got to get the Republicans out and get the Democrats in. That's the message they're trying to plant in the minds of everyday voters. And if the president is failing, he's a Republican. That means we got to, first of all, get his support in Congress out of there. Those are the Republicans in Congress. That's the midterms. And then come next election, we got to get Republicans out. So it can't be J.D. Vance. Then we got to get whoever the Democrats send, which is right now looking like it's going to be Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris. So this is the seeds that they're planting, even though planting these seeds creates pessimism amongst the populace. And that means people will spend less money. There'll be more economic stagnation, more affordability issues, and a more stagnant economy. The Democrats are willing to pay that price now in order to win elections in the future. Personally, I think that sucks, but this is the way the system is designed. And I'm not saying that to attack the Democrats. If the Republicans were in charge, if the Democrats were running the executive branch and the legislative branch right now, as opposed to the Republicans do the exact same thing. So the game that they play in politics, this is the reason why I continually emphasize to you all, do not get too excited or emotionally engaged in what these politicians say. They would rather the economy be bad and people be in a really bad situation, everyday citizens, in order to win elections than have people be in a good situation and possibly not win an election. That's the game that they're playing. And these are the people that we elected into office. And again, this is the reason why you don't buy too much into what politicians are saying, because their real job is not helping you. Their real job is helping themselves. So when presidential rhetoric diverges too far from lived economic reality, some say it will be labeled as gaslighting rather than actual leadership. I understand it, but I already framed this for you. I already explained to you all exactly why they're doing what they're doing. Trump is doing it because he's trying to generate the energy of positivity. And the Democrats are trying to point out the quote unquote reality, because they're saying, well, he's lying and everything's going bad and all you citizens should understand that everything is bad. So don't believe anything that Donald Trump is saying, which, again, why would they want to do that? To make you feel bad? Because, again, their emphasis is not making sure the economy does well so that you're doing good. Their emphasis is how do you make Donald Trump look bad, even if that means hurting you, so that we can win our next election. That is the game that they're playing. Now, Trump has blamed undocumented immigration on housing shortages, job competition, and wage pressure, reinforcing his core message that border enforcement is directly tied to economic recovery. Good morning. How you doing? You doing good? Yeah. Okay, they can't all see you on camera. Let me see if I can move it over so y'all can see my co-host. I think my co-host helps my ratings. He helps boost the ratings. So we gotta get a co-host a little bit of light because he helps boost my ratings. Now, whatever it takes to boost the ratings. All right. Are you helping me boost ratings? Can you say good morning to the people over there? Good morning. All right. So he is blaming this on the, what do they call this? Undocumented immigration. That's a new word. We used to just call it illegal. Now we just call it undocumented. Undocumented immigration. So he says the housing shortages are because of this, because these people do live in houses. I agree with that. Job competition, because these people do have jobs. I agree with that. Wage pressure. I agree with this as well, because they'll work for cheaper than the average American. So the average American finds their wages being driven down because people are coming in willing to take less money. And now that drives down the market for a job that you could have charged. You could have said, I need $25 an hour. Now they only pay you $20 because these other people are willing to work for less. And now you're competing against people who, according to the framing that you get from the conservatives, these people shouldn't even be in America, let alone should they be able to get a job. So Donald Trump has hammered this for 10 years. He continues to hammer it. Donald Trump is basically sticking to his script. I don't have a problem with this. Now he's sticking to his script. Again, I'm not asking if you agree with it. He's just sticking to the script that he's had from the very beginning. So what else is he saying? Core message that border enforcement is directly tied to economic recovery. So Donald Trump is planting a seed here that if we're going to recover the economy, we have to continue to enforce the border, which means don't be mad when ICE comes to your town and starts pulling people out of there. Don't be mad when we're rejecting people at the border. Don't be mad if your grandma can't get a visa to come visit you in Oklahoma. This is what we're doing. Why? Because border enforcement is key to our economic recovery. So you Americans, if y'all want to make more money, you want to have more money in your pockets, more money in your bank account, feel more positive about your financial future, then you had to be okay with the fact that we're going to enforce the border and kick some of these mofos out of our country. And when we send Tom Homan around and Kristi Noem around, don't be complaining. That's the seed that he's planting here by saying what he's saying. Now, immigration remains one of Trump's strongest issue areas, as you all know, and he's tying it to cost of living to broaden its appeal to cultural politics. I understand. That's the game. This is what he should be doing. If I'm a Republican, I would do the exact same thing, because this is one in which you have a toehold on the Democrats. The Democrats have, in my opinion, stupidly connected themselves to, we would just want to let anybody who comes into this country, documented or not, into the country. Why? Because this is just the right thing to do. I don't know what their other angle is, or we're a nation of immigrants, and that's completely ridiculous. They tied themselves to this, and Donald Trump is hammering them on it, and he should continue to hammer them on it. And whoever runs for president in 2028 should hammer Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris or AOC. Those are your three possibilities, Democrats. They should hammer them on this, because all three of them have planted their flag on this immigration thing. And I think that's not a smart thing for the Democrats to do. But I understand it's part of their strategy. Yes.
Can we go to the park today?
Of course, we go to the park every day, don't we?
But can we go to the park right now?
No. Don't you see I'm working? We'll go to the park later. You're not even dressed yet. You didn't even eat your breakfast. What about that?
No, I want to go to the park now.
Well, you're not going to have any battery because you haven't eaten any food. What about that?
I still have battery.
Yeah, you haven't eaten any food. You're not going to have any energy.
I still have energy.
Yeah, but if you don't eat, you're going to run out of energy. Don't you know how that works?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that what usually happens?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm predicting your future here. So you need to eat breakfast first. So after you eat breakfast and get dressed, then later we can go out. Does that sound good?
No.
No? How does it sound? Okay, you're delaying my live stream. Let me get back to what I was talking about. So, economists are widely disputing the idea that immigrants are the primary drivers of inflation or housing costs, suggesting that the framing oversimplifies complex supply, zoning, and labor market dynamics. I agree with this as well. So I agree with both sides of this. I agree with the pro and the con of what Trump's doing. I agree that Trump should do what he should do, which is frame all the economic problems on something that he did not cause, i.e. this immigration, undocumented immigration. He can blame it on the previous administration. He can blame it on the Democrats because they all waved their flag. They planted their flag on this. So they're not even arguing back and saying that it's not true, or it's not true that they wanted the undocumented people coming into the country. So he is smart to do this strategically. And the Democrats are smart to push back and say, well, hey, wait a minute, it's bigger than that. It's not that simple. It's not that simple that just because people are undocumented, all of a sudden people don't have money. This is also correct. Both arguments are correct. It's just a matter of who does a better job of framing. And those of you who listen to me do these live streams consistently, you've heard me say this over and over again, which is politics is not about truth or falsehood. It is not about fact or fiction. It's not about right or wrong. It's not even about accurate or inaccurate. It's all about framing. Who can do a better job of framing their argument against the other person's argument? Even when that Candace Owens stuff that we've been paying attention to, and I've been talking about a lot for the last month, that is all about framing. That's not really about what's true and what's not true. Evidence, not evidence, proof, what's fact, what's a lie. It's not really about that. It's about framing. Candace Owens is really good at framing things, and her opponents individually are not that good at framing, but all of them together are trying to collectively push back with a different frame than the frame that she's using. That's the whole argument is about frames. If it was just about fact or fiction, there wouldn't be a debate. We wouldn't need to talk about it. We can just look it up and find the answer and it'd be over. Same thing with politics. The reason why politicians always go back and forth on all these things is because the argument is not about what's true and what's not. We can find out what's true and what's not with a simple Google search. Google search takes 30 seconds. The reason why these go months and years of back and forth is because it's not about fact or fiction. It's about framing. Who can better sell their frame, which is why I've continually told you all that politics is a public speaking competition. Have you heard me say that before? It's a public speaking competition. If you are not good at public speaking, you cannot succeed in politics, even at the local level, because you have to be really good at framing the situation. One reason is because it's never all perfect. So you have to take things that people are unhappy about that are factually not good on your record, and you have to find a way to talk about it in such a way that people can be okay with the fact that it's still there. That's framing. And if you're bad at public speaking, Kamala Harris, you will have trouble winning an election. This is why I think she's in trouble going against Gavin Newsom, because he's pretty good at framing. Even though he is a slick talking, untrustworthy politician, he is good at being a politician. Kamala Harris is not a good public speaker. So just Democrats there thinking about 2028. This is going to be the bottom line between the two of them is going to be that. It's going to be the framing issue. And I don't know how Kamala can win that. Her advantage is that she's a woman and that she's brown, so she can possibly leverage that, but I don't know. But anyway, let me not digress off the topic. And we're going to talk about Kamala again maybe next week. Because you know that Kamala restarted her book tour. Did y'all know that? Kamala added more dates to her book tour. Did y'all hear about that? Give me a yes or no in the comments if y'all heard that. Kamala Harris, remember that book tour we were talking about a month ago? A month and a half ago? Kamala Harris added more dates to her book tour. Which means two things. Number one, Kamala's been selling some books. Kamala been selling books. So shout out to Kamala Harris for selling books. We got to give Kamala a clap for selling books. Kamala sold some books. And number two, which the thing that we already know. We already knew this, but we don't know, but we know. Candace Owens' voice. Kamala Harris is running for president in 2026. We know, 2028. Kamala Harris is running for president. That one is absolutely happening. Excuse me. And Kamala added more dates to her book tour. So again, we'll come back around to Kamala in due time. Now, critics argue that his narrative is politically useful but economically misleading, opening Trump to fact check attacks. Okay, that's fine with that. I've told you all 1,000 times here already, facts don't matter. So they can fact check them all they want. Who cares about facts? Do Trump supporters care about facts that make Trump look bad? No. Do Trump detractors care about facts that make Trump look good? No. So fact checking means absolutely nothing. So people talk about fact checking only when there's a fact that makes you feel good, but then they want to ignore fact checking when there's a fact that makes you look wrong. So who the hell cares about fact checking? The answer is absolutely nobody. So next time you hear somebody talking about fact checking, just say this.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Nobody cares about fact checking. All right. Facts don't matter. Framing matters. Now, Trump highlighted sharply reduced illegal border crossings. This is true. That is a fact. There, you want to talk about facts. He claims they're at their lowest level since the 70s. They probably are. He's presenting enforcement as a tangible, measurable success. I think we would have to agree that the enforcement at the border has been a tangible, measurable success for Donald Trump. We have to actually give him credit for that, even if you don't like Donald Trump. It is significantly more difficult to cross the border without proper documentation now than it was, let's say, 2 years ago under the Biden administration. Again, I think everybody would have to agree with that. Joe Biden loosened the enforcement. Donald Trump strengthened the enforcement. That is undeniable. It's not even something to argue about. Concrete metrics help Trump contrast his presidency with Biden's and reinforce his law and order brand ahead of midterms. Not significant, but the fundamental difference between the Democrats and Republicans on this issue is not one of facts, but one of which aim they want to take. Donald Trump says law and order, enforce our laws, enforce our borders, don't let people just come in here. Joe Biden administration says, hey, we got to be, they're more on the soft side, I guess, for lack of a better term, more compassionate side. We just have to let people in. People are seeking asylum. People don't have anywhere else to go. This is a land of opportunity. We're a land of immigrants. Look at all these immigrants here. The president's married to a damn immigrant. The vice president's married to a damn immigrant. How are they going to be against immigrants? They're using the emotional side. And y'all know what sound you get when people start using the emotional side.
Emotional, damn it.
So the Democrats are going the emotional side. Donald Trump's going the more logical side. I say we got to go by what's on the books. What's on the books are laws. And the laws say you need proper documentation to enter the United States of America. How can the Democrats say we're not going to focus on the law and what's objectively true? We're going to focus on how we feel. I disagree with that. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but here's what I say to the Democrats on that subject.
Have some more chicken. Have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried.
I don't agree with that. I say the law says ABC, then we got to go by the law. And we're not even talking about the spirit of the law or the letter of the law. This is just the law says you need proper documentation. Donald Trump says law and order. This appeals to a lot of Americans. But there are also some Americans who say, well, we got to go off the feeling because a lot of Americans, if they go back even 2-3 generations of their own family, those people were immigrants. So there's a very strong argument on both sides. And again, that's why this comes down to that one word, not facts, but framing. Framing is what politics is all about. So any of you want to get into politics, you got to get good at framing. Now, the speech offered not much in the form of verifiable details or sourcing for Donald Trump's claims. So skeptics are unconvinced and they're trying to do fact checking after the speech. I say this is a bunch of Joe Biden voice malarkey. Didn't Joe Biden used to say that, malarkey? This is a bunch of malarkey by people who are saying that Donald Trump didn't offer sources or specific details or measurable facts for the things that he's saying. That's not what politics is about. I just told you this. Politics is not about facts. Politics is about framing. Donald Trump is very good at framing. This is the reason why he's won 3 Republican nominations and 2 presidential elections and 1 that is questionable, that will always be questionable. That was the 2021, in case you didn't know. So them saying, well, he's not providing facts. No politician provides facts. No politician gives you facts if the facts don't quite support their point. All they're about is framing. And here's why politicians do that. For those of you who are really smart people, you probably couldn't get into politics. The reason you can't get into politics as a smart person is because smart people tend to default to what's factually true. Politics doesn't care about what's factually true. Did everybody hear that? Any of you listening to this, you're thinking about getting into politics and you think you can do it because you're very smart and you focus on facts. Here's my response to you.
Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down!
You're thinking about getting into politics because you're smart and you can recite facts. Don't get into politics. Put the phone down. Or go back to school, get another degree or something, but don't go into politics. Politics is all about who can better frame what they know to be true, what they believe to be true, or what they want to be true. It doesn't even matter if it's actually true. You can tell a complete lie. If you frame it the right way, it will work in your favor. That's how politics works. And if you can't wrap your mind around that, then you cannot get in politics. Or you can try, but you're going to fail. And just don't say I didn't tell you up front. Politics is all about framing whatever you want to frame and getting people to accept the frame. Understand that most people do not understand facts. They cannot translate logic. Most people are not critical thinkers. Most people don't want to read data and charts. And most people don't even understand the facts that you're giving them. What people want is to feel good. If you can make people feel good with your frame, even if your frame is based on fiction, you will win elections. If you make people feel bad with your frame and your frame is based on fact, you will lose. Everybody understand what I just said? You can't tell people facts that make them feel bad and then think they're going to go vote for you. No, they will vote against you, even though you are factually right. So you'll be right, but you'll lose. Life is about not being right, but being accurate. Here's the difference between being right and being accurate. Being right means you have all the facts on your side and you can prove it. This is what a lot of people are saying about Candace Owens. So she don't have the facts on her side and she can't prove it. She has no evidence. That's not really what matters. There's a reason why she's getting 1 million viewers every episode, not because she has facts. You think there's 1 million people who care about facts? You think there's 1 million people lining up to listen to somebody talk about facts for an hour? Are you serious? If you believe that, then I have some beachfront property in Wyoming to sell to you. People don't line up to listen to Candace because of facts. They line up to listen to her because she's very good at framing. Doesn't matter if they're factual. Doesn't matter if what she's saying is factually true or not. I believe a good amount of it may be. A lot of it is just theory and speculation. But it's framing that makes her interesting. It's not facts that make her interesting. And the same thing with politicians. So if you want to get into politics again, perish your idea of giving people facts. Nobody gives a damn about facts. So the announcement of, this is what Donald Trump says. He's going to give off a $1,776 warrior dividend. And it's $1,776. That's, you don't notice the significance of that number, 1776. That's the year when America went through the revolution. So he's going to give this dividend, basically a check, for all active duty military members. And it's a clear policy hook tied symbolically to American patriotism and the founding era. So those, again, I told you why it's $1,776. And he's going to give it to all active military members. So in other words, he's trying to get all the military on his side. A lot of Americans, especially the same ones who don't like all this undocumented immigration or just immigration period, they support the military. Anybody with an American flag in their house or on their car or outside of their house or in their lawn, they pretty much support the military. They're giving you a signal, which is crazy to me, that having an American flag in your name or your bio or on your house or on your car or on your lawn nowadays signals that you're on one side politically and not on the other side politically, which is, again, that's crazy to me. An American flag now means you're a conservative. And you can't possibly be a liberal if you got an American flag, which is crazy. But again, this is the reality. So Donald Trump doing this is just winning over military and supporting military. In other words, Donald Trump is hammering his base. He's going to his base and saying, let's do more and more and more of what we're already doing. Usually when politicians do this, it's their way of saying, their way of signaling that I believe my frame is so strong, it doesn't even matter that the other side is pushing back against me. If I just keep hammering my frame, that's good enough to win our next round of elections. So Donald Trump is saying we're in a strong enough position that no matter what the Democrats say, if I just keep hammering my base, we're good. He might be right. If that economic point is right, he's right. If he's wrong on the economic point, then it doesn't matter. So this reinforces Trump's alignment with the military while providing a headline-friendly takeaway from the speech and getting all the military people some free money. So there you go. Now, critics question whether the bonus is economically meaningful or largely symbolic, especially when there are broader fiscal pressures and deficits and we're $38 trillion in debt. Again, what is that, ladies and gentlemen? Critics are trying to go against what Trump said. They're trying to go against his framing with facts. Do I need to explain this to you all to the 7th time here today? Do not try to combat somebody's expert framing with facts. Don't do that. Nick said you watched it live for 300 minutes. That's what's up. Do not try to combat framing with facts. If you need to combat somebody's frame and you think their frame is based in lies, then you need to do better at framing along with providing the facts. You can't just do one or the other. You got to give facts and you got to frame it well. So you see all these people going against Candace Owens. You see it's like 500 of them all going against her and they're still losing. Why? Because she's better at framing than they are. And there might be somebody out there who's better at framing than Candace, but they can't get enough attention for people to notice what they're saying. And they can't stop her momentum. That's the issue. Framing is what matters here, folks. I'm going to say that like 30 times here today. I said it I think I fulfilled about half of that quota. Now, Trump's energetic rally-style delivery projected confidence, dominance, and continuity with his campaign persona, appealing to supporters who prefer strength over technocratic nuance. Didn't I just tell y'all this? Nobody cares about nuance. Nobody cares about facts. Nobody cares about what's truthful. Nobody cares about what's accurate. Nobody cares about data. Nobody cares about statistics, even though every single one of you mofos claim that you care about all those things. No, you don't. You don't really care. I don't care. We care about framing. You persuade human beings by giving them the proper frame that touches them emotionally enough that they can come up, and then you provide them, touches them emotionally enough to move them to action. Then you provide them a few or enough logical justifications for their emotional decisions such that they can logically and cognitively explain why they're doing what they're doing. That is how you move human beings to action. There's a book called Influence by Robert Cialdini. If you haven't read it, look it up. Cialdini. The book is called Influence. Look it up, read it, understand it. Human beings are not driven by facts. Even though every one of you listening to this thinks that you're driven by facts, you make decisions based on facts and logic and objective observation. No, the hell you don't. You have never made a single decision based on that. Put the phone down.
This is for my safety. Put the phone down. This is for my safety. Put the phone down. This is for my safety. Put the phone down.
Put the phone down if you think you make decisions based on logic. No, you don't. Now, a loud, agitated tone that Trump uses, he always uses this, and the scripting of it. Every president uses scripts when they give speeches. So some say this address is more defensive than reassuring. Again, this is framing. Y'all notice this? This is just framing. So Donald Trump's opponents, when the president speaks, then the Democrats come up, or the other side. If the president was Democrat, then the Republicans will come up right after they're done, and they give their rebuttal to whatever the president said. So their rebuttal is, well, he sounded defensive, and it sounded like he's just trying to rally people, but he's not telling them the reality of what's happening. And yeah, he probably is. Every president does it. This is not new. Barack Obama did it. Joe Biden did it. Bill Clinton did it. W. Bush did it. They all do it. This is what they do. You frame things a certain way to make people feel good, because if they feel positive, then they'll feel good about you and your team will win the next round of elections. That is the game of politics. That's the entire game. Now, by blaming the Biden administration for the inherited inflation, which Trump did, and the crime, he did that, and the affordability, he also did that, Trump reinforced a clean contrast narrative between the previous administration and his administration. This is another thing you got to do in politics. You draw a clear line between what your opponent is about and what you are about. You don't want you and your opponent to seem too similar, because then that confuses the voters. Voters are confused. Y'all two sound like your friends, or which one should we pick? I don't want either one of these mofos, and now nobody wins. So all you do is you try to find out where your opponent is standing on certain things. And either A, you try to frame it as if they're really, really hard on one side so you can be on the other side, and occupy that other position, which hopefully is advantageous for you. Or B, if they actually are strong on one side and you actually disagree in a serious way, a logical, factual way, you actually disagree, then it can just be a battle of ideologies. Right now, the biggest ideological battle between the Republicans and the Democrats, actually, there's several of them. One of them is when it comes to the LGBTQ and all of that, but that's actually a much smaller issue. The bigger one is the immigration thing, where the Democrats have decided they're going to plant their flag on let people in, and the Republicans are planting their flag on enforce the laws. And both sides actually agree on their position. Whereas a lot of times in politics, let's say if you get Kamala versus Gavin Newsom in 2028, what you're going to see is a lot of chess moves between both sides. So Kamala's going to try to make it seem like Gavin believes in this, while she's the opposite, and Gavin's going to say, no, that's not true. I'm actually over here, and she's over here. They're going to be trying to fight for position on things that they don't actually agree on, that they stand on. But on this one, the Democrats actually agree, bring people into the country, open the borders. And the Republicans say, don't let people in the country, kick people out of the country, extract them from the country, and close the borders. So this is an interesting one simply because they actually agree on their polarized positions, whereas most of the time it's not that. Most of the time they're trying to accuse each other of polarized positions that they don't actually have. But here they agree on it. Which means it just comes down to how many Americans agree with the Democrats, how many agree with the Republicans. The Democrats' game is let's bring in more and more immigrants so that of course, they're going to agree because we let them in. So they'll vote for us. That was Kamala's fast track to citizenship that she kept saying. Donald Trump says, well, we got enough Americans here. Of course, agree to close up the borders. Let's just stand on that. So it just becomes a numbers game. How many blue blood Americans who don't want more immigrants coming into the country can you get to show up and vote for the Republicans? And how many immigrants who now have the right to vote can you get to show up and vote for the Democrats? That's what it comes down to. What's interesting to me because, again, most of the time politicians are trying to make their opponent look like they believe something that they don't believe. In this case, they don't have to do that because they're actually both saying, yes, that's what I believe. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Well, we already know how it went in 2024. It'll be interesting to see how it goes in 2026. And we will see in about 10 months. Now, assigning blame is central to midterm positioning, especially when approval ratings are soft. So right now, Trump's approval ratings are not super high. So this is the reason why he needs to give this speech and the reason why the Republicans need some momentum. Right now, the Republicans are facing some challenges. On a small level, you got Candace Owens not riding for the Republicans, but that's not that big of a deal. She wasn't riding for Donald Trump in 2024. He still won. So Candace Owens riding for the Republicans is not going to make or break the election. Now, a bigger issue is the Epstein files. So a lot of people on the conservative side are concerned or were concerned with the way that those kind of got papered over. They still need to release those files. I think it's going to be a whole bunch of nothing, but we'll probably talk about that whole bunch of nothing when it happens. And the bigger thing with the Republican side is you have a good amount of infighting right now amongst the Republicans. So this framing and assigning the blame with soft approval ratings. And the bigger thing also is the economy. A lot of people are not feeling what's going on with the economy. And the Republicans are rightfully being challenged on those points. So they got to figure that out. Now, polls showing Trump's economic approval in the low to mid 30s suggest the message may not resonate beyond his core supporters, which is true. And what happens in the midterms depends on how many people you get to show up to vote. Ultimately, winning elections is how many people you get to show up and actually vote, actually do the voting. It's not what people think. All of us talking here, not everybody who's in here listening to this conversation is actually going to show up and vote in the midterm elections. I might not even vote in the midterm elections. I told you how I'm indifferent to politics. I will talk about it, but I really don't care. I might not even vote in the midterms. I'll talk about what happens in the midterms, but I might not even vote because I'm not that engaged in who wins or who loses. So if I really cared about a candidate, then I will vote and make sure I vote for that person. But if I'm not that excited about it, then I just won't participate. This is how elections work. This is the reason why a lot of what people do, the workers, that is, who are trying to help a certain side win an election, their biggest thing is not getting you to decide Democrat versus Republican. They already know what side you're on. They can guess most of the time and be right. What they're trying to get is all the Republicans to actually vote. And they're trying to get all the Democrats to actually vote. Most people who can vote don't vote. No, let me not say most. A good number of people who can vote, are eligible to vote, are registered to vote. They simply don't vote. Why? Because they don't care enough about the election to go vote. Voting is an action. You got to get people to actually commit to. They got to show up to the polling place. They got to stand in line and do all this shit. They be doing other things. Like they be watching Netflix. So you got to get them to actually show up. That's the issue. So Scott Pressler was a guy who helped Trump win in 2024. His big thing was getting the Republicans to actually show up and vote in Pennsylvania. Was the reason why they won that swing state. 20 or 22 or 21 electoral votes. It changes every election, but it's about 20, low 20s electoral votes to the state of Pennsylvania. That was huge for Trump winning in 2024. One of the main reasons was not that they got a bunch of people to change their minds. It was that they got a bunch of people who already like Trump to actually vote for Trump, literally vote. Not just support him by talking about it, but literally show up and vote. All that said, everybody, let's get into the discussion here, get into the conversation. We're going to try to slim down these live streams. I don't like doing 2 hours and 2.5 hours, and that's a little bit too much time. So we're going to try to get these down to about 60 to 75 minute range. So we get about 15 minutes for commentary. So let's get straight into it. And we won't need restroom break because I'm not sitting here for too long. Brandon Miller said, they're not helping the community. When the Mexicans came over here complaining about not getting a job, they made a law saying you cannot discriminate. You can't do nothing about it. So you're going to find a job. It's going to be hard for them because they don't want to hire us or our kids. I get it. Are you talking about Americans, Brandon? I'm assuming you're talking about Americans. So you remember Walmart got sued for discrimination. Every company's been sued for discrimination. They didn't want to hire Mexicans. So when that law came into place, our business got sued because of that. But foreigners, businesses not getting sued for discrimination. I understand what you're saying, Brandon. Where are you located? Brandon Tillman, if you're still watching, where are you located? Foreigners do not like the indigenous men. A lot of foreigners want us to die out. Real Ice said Dre Shuttlesworth. What does that mean? Why are you saying that? Divine said the difference is legal. Divine said you got to be a good salesman. Yes, you got to be a great salesman. You got to be a great public speaker to win elections. The Real says simpletons are subject to passions, abolishes universal franchise. Well, all humans are subject to passions and emotions. All humans are. Some have more control over their emotions than others, but everybody is subject to being driven by their emotions. There's no one who is immune to that. Again, some people are more driven by their emotions than others, but everybody can be driven by emotion. All right, moderators on TikTok, you see a good comment, go ahead and post it, pin it, and I'll respond to it. So I think we're going to go about 15 minutes here on the comments, and we'll wrap this up. As y'all, I already did that. Where am I at? I'm just reading through some comments here. Can we get to 100K likes, please? Folks, we're at 87,000. Sharon says she should have won last time. Who? I know you're not talking about Kamala Harris, Sharon. Please don't tell me you're talking about Kamala Harris.
Stop it. Get some help.
Sharon, stop it and get some help. No, that's Michael Jordan telling you stop it and get some help. He said nothing could ever make me vote for Harris. So right after that. So I don't think she should have won last time. She lost all 7 swing states. What do you mean she should have won? Based on what? We already know Kamala's running again. So those of you who thought Kamala should have won, good news is she's going to run again. So Kamala versus Gavin Newsom. Do y'all think she can beat Gavin Newsom? That's her first problem, is beating Gavin Newsom. Her second problem is beating the Republican. But she got to solve the first problem first. Metabolism says, sounds like you're sharing real information. I am. So I appreciate that. Thank you. So a bunch of you appreciate my son coming on as a co-host. He has exited. He made a cameo, then he exited. He needs to eat breakfast like I told him. Gary Gray, good morning. Leah, thank you. Thanks for the lightning bolts. Comet Feedy1 said they have committed treason by importing hundreds of thousands of known terrorists into our country. Yeah, problem is you could never prove that, but I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. CC Ruiz said, my ovaries. I never heard anybody say that. That's funny.
I like your funny words, Magic Man.
All right, so Party Mama said, you're dreaming. There's an end to every wall. They just walk around it. You talking about the border wall? Well, the border wall is not really about the wall, the physical wall. It's about enforcing the laws. If they enforce the laws, there'd be fewer people to walk around because they would just turn people away. Shirley B, good morning. Tina, good morning from the 757. Party Mama said, the law says everyone has due process. Did you forget that? I didn't say anything about that. Party Mama, what's he talking about? Yamin said the suit is sharp. Thank you. Pink Juice Player said Americans don't understand the immigration system, period. I think the immigration system is pretty simple. Is that there's a set of laws and rules that must be followed if someone wants to immigrate into this country or even visit this country. And if you don't follow those laws and rules, then you should not be allowed in. And if you happen to slip through the cracks and get through anyway, Tom Homan is going to come find you and kick your ass out of here. That's the way it works. Colton Wade said, I find your objectivity quite refreshing. Thanks. You're welcome. I think we should just enforce the laws on the books. I think there's nothing wrong with saying just enforce the laws that are on the books. These are the laws that we voted for our legislature. The legislature passes the laws. The president signs them into law, and that's it. So the Democrats saying that we're just going to not talk about the law. We're just going to focus on emotion and compassion. I can't get with that. So I have a problem with the Democrats using this as their frame, especially since Trump came into politics. They've been using it for the last 10 years. I don't agree with it because the law says these are laws that were created before Trump came around by legislatures that we voted for. So how all of a sudden we're not going to enforce the laws? Party Mama said he won the election because of racism. Party Mama, cut it out. Is that the best you got?
Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down! This is for my safety. Put the phone down!
Put the phone down, Party Mama. Christy said, who wants a framer in the White House? Well, all politicians are framers. When I say framer, I'm not talking about the people who created the country. I'm talking about framing, like people who are good at framing. No one in your lifetime has won a political election who wasn't good at framing. So I don't know how old you are, but let's go back. Reagan, the first Bush, Clinton, second Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden. That's all we've had in the last, 40 years? They're all good at framing. That's how they win. Colton said, politicians only drive a narrative to fit their agenda. Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do. If you were in politics, that's what you would be doing. If I was in, that's what I'd be doing. That's what you're supposed to do. Yamin said, it's not about facts, about narrative control. Yes, what I call framing. It's not necessarily about the story. It's just the framing of whatever information people have. Colton said, feelings don't care about your facts. That is 100% true. Yamin said, I learned real politics from somebody who I don't know. Dawn said, Trump is the GOAT. Well, he's the GOAT of the Republican Party right now for the last 3 terms. 3 election cycles. Michelle, good morning. Valerie, you're welcome. I think you're talking about the American flag. Yeah, I think it's crazy that the American flag now symbolizes that you have picked a side politically when we're all living in the United States. I think that's crazy. It's true, and it's also crazy. Live Free said, there's no facts in America. America's a lie within itself. How is America a lie? There's no facts in humanity, Live Free. I mean, actually, there are facts, but the facts don't matter. It's not that there aren't facts. They just don't matter. And a lot of smart people, many of you, I think, are smart people. Many of you default to facts when you're trying to persuade or influence. You should stop doing that. It's a hard switch to turn off if you spent your whole life defaulting to facts. Facts don't really matter. Marty said, I'd rather the money go to the military than everyone where TDS peeps get money too. I agree, Marty. I don't mind Trump giving a stipend or whatever you want to call it to the people in the military. I know why he's doing it. He's doing it because he wants to strengthen his hold with the people who support the military and people actually in it. Live Free said, military has the largest homeless and mental health population. Yes, this is true. What does that got to do with him giving money to the active ones? Skittle said, Dems don't care about the budget when they're funding illegals. I agree with that. You're true. That's true. Joe, thanks for the follow. Moan29, thanks for the share. Nana Cat said, you paid $2.07 for gas in Oklahoma this week. I might need to go to Oklahoma. $2.07. I'm going to get gas today. I need gas. Mine's going to be closer to $4. So I'm about to pay twice whatever you paid. Nick said, everything has went up so much in the past 5 years. Absolutely ridiculous. I agree. Everything has gone up. Things are going to keep going up. Just a matter of how fast they go up. That's really what it comes down to. Let's see. I saw somebody use a straw man here and I missed it. But let me see if I can catch that straw man. Jody, thanks for the follow. Ronald Hill said, MAGA only want white imagination. I think he meant white immigration. But white immigration is not really that big of a thing. The immigration is at the southern border, and that's people coming in, usually brown people. So white immigration, usually people coming in other ways, but usually they're coming in with proper documentation. Are they not, Ronald Hills? Just as a general point. Karina said, you better vote. Nah, I might. I might not. Lucien said, so you don't care about the direction of the country. All right. Congratulations.
Strawberry cheesecake.
Congratulations to you for getting the straw man. I do care about the direction of the country. That's why I'm talking about it. Now, caring about the direction of the country is not proven by voting. Just because you voted doesn't mean you care about the direction of the country. It just means you care enough about the election to go vote. Doesn't mean you care about where the country goes. Caring about the direction of the country is a intangible internal thing that cannot be counted or measured. So you get two slices of strawberry cheesecake.
Strawberry cheesecake.
Just for saying that. Leather and Pearl said, I vote every election in my state. I don't. We just had a mayoral election. I didn't even vote. I know who won, but I didn't vote. I only vote if I care enough about who's running that I want to make my voice heard. But otherwise, I generally don't care. Even if I vote for somebody and they don't win, I don't care. That's my position on politics. That's the reason why I can talk about this stuff so dispassionately, because I don't really care. Niece said, people who don't vote, then you really should then not complain about politics outcome. I don't complain. So you're right about that. I agree with you. I don't complain about anything a politician does. I just observe what they're doing and talk about it. But I don't complain about it because I have no dependence or expectations of the government. I want the government out of my business. All I want the government to do is protect my God-given rights. The government does not grant rights. They protect rights. And otherwise, stay the hell out of my business. That's all I want the government to do. I don't care if it's Democrat or Republican. Teacher says, so glad our son is not involved in politics anymore. Yeah, politics is a dirty game if you're willing to play it. Colton said, your objectivity is refreshing. Thanks. You're welcome. KS Priest said, on the light side, what is Santa bringing your son for Christmas? Well, his grandparents have sent him some stuff that hasn't been wrapped up yet. And mommy decides on most of the gifts. I just provide the funding source. She decides on most of the gifts. I'm gonna get him one of those stock ownership certificates. So it's not a toy. I don't want to give him another toy because kids just run through toys. They play with them for like 2 hours and then they forget about it. So I'm getting him a stock ownership certificate. It's already on the way. And I'm explaining to him what it means so that he understands it. So that was when I saw that, I said, that's the kind of thing I can get for him. But he won't quite understand what it means, but over time he'll come to get it. So that's on the way. It's in the mail, coming in the mail right now. So it's like a commemorative certificate that says you own a share or X number of shares in a certain type of stock. It's not about which stock it is, it's about him understanding the concept. So that's what I got for him on my own volition, but I'll let mommy take care of the gifts. Angelica said, most people don't even understand the ramifications of illegal immigration. Yeah, generally they don't. Donald Trump tries to help them understand on a big level. And again, this was Kamala talking about fast track citizenship. So they're trying to weigh the elections in favor of the Democrats. Lucian said, well, then why won't you vote? I just told you, because I really don't care. I don't care who wins. That's why I don't vote. I will vote. I don't always vote because I generally don't care. I vote when it's convenient for me. Suzanne said, I think he won because he is confident and told people what they wanted to hear. Every president won because of that. Who didn't do that? Biden did it. Obama did it. Bush did it. Clinton did it. They all did it. Live Free said, we need 2 hours every day. Your soundbox takes up 30 minutes each day. You need 2 hours? Okay, you want to pay for 2 hours? You know my hourly rate? If you know my hourly rate, we can make it happen.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Otherwise, these are going to be about 60 to 75 minutes. That's where it's going to go. I started 15 minutes late today. That's why I'm going a little bit longer. Karina said, why are people giving Congress credit for the military bonuses? Because they have to sign off on it. So this is how politics works. Katarina, thanks for the heart. Savannah said, $4. What state are you in? California? I'm in Florida. Gas here will be, well, actually, it depends on where you are. I live in a city. I'm a big city guy. So I don't live in suburban areas. I live in cities. So in the city of Miami, gas, especially depending on which gas station you stop at, you're creeping up towards $4. Now, if I was to go outside of the city, maybe 20 minutes outside the city, maybe I get down to maybe $3.25. So it can swing a lot depending on where you're at. But in the city, you're always going to pay more for gas. It's just how it is. Generally, my view on gas, paying for gas, is that you want to put yourself in a position economically where you don't really care how much the gas costs or the groceries or the eggs or any of this stuff. I'll notice it sometimes and say, like, how the hell does my insurance keep going up? But I don't want to be in a position where I'm like, I can't pay for this. I don't want to do that. I'd rather be above the fray of all this stuff. That's my general position on these types of things. That's why I can talk about them the way I talk about them, because I don't have an emotional tie to an outcome. Brett said, why must we describe people by color? Because this is part of the context of the conversations we have, Brett. You know this. Savannah said, gas is around $2.50, $2.70 here in East Tennessee. All right, that's pretty cheap. Send me some gas from East Tennessee. I'll send you the money, you send me the gas. Mermaid Maryland said gas is under $2 here in Mississippi. All right, so all of y'all can send me some gas. I'll send y'all the money. I'll cash app you the money. You send me some gas. Nana said my husband has no idea what anyone's getting for Christmas. I'm all right with that. I'm all right with the woman taking care of the Christmas gifts. I'm not a Christmas gift shopper. One gift I do need. I need to get me a new phone. So I think that's going to be my Christmas gift. Is me and mommy are going to get new iPhones. That's what we'll get. So I do need to get a new phone because my iPhone's starting to get slow now. So it's about time. J. Rocket said, when listening to these a lot, you can guess what you're about to call the logical fallacy. Good. Because a logical fallacy is a logical fallacy no matter who points it out. So if you listen to these often enough, you should get good at pointing out logical fallacies. So that's a good point, J. Rocket. Tony said, add to stock every birthday and Christmas. Well, what I do, Tony, is I just automate the investments. You probably understand that. So I automate the investments. So my son doesn't even know. He doesn't understand it. So he's only 3 years old. But the certificate will help him see it visually, but it already exists. And then he'll come to understand when he's old enough to even understand what that means. Gary Gray said that's the gift that keeps on giving. That's right. Karina said, I noticed every candidate on the left is being forced to include LGBTQ ICE in their priorities. Yeah, because that's the word from on high. Michaela said, OU or Alabama tonight, who are you picking? Is it tonight? They start playing already? Yeah, I understand now they got the playoffs. It's damn near, they're like the NFL now. So they start playing those games already? I remember when the bowl games were all on New Year's Day. Then there was a couple of them after that. And then there was a couple of the weaker bowl games where they were like the week after Christmas. But now they're playing already. I didn't know the game was already. I'm going to go with, I don't know that much about either team. I'm going to go with Alabama. I'll go with Alabama. Rowan said, my girl crossing the line like a Mexican. A few more comments here, folks, then we'll wrap this up. Thomas said, that's the way I feel. Voters like picking the next one is going to screw you. Yeah, well, you want to put yourself in a position where no matter what they do, it doesn't screw you. Savannah said, do I think Walz should be in trouble for the fraud? We talked about that last week, Savannah. They would have to trace it to him. You got to prove it. I know he's the governor, but you got to trace it to him actually intentionally doing something, knowing what he was doing in order to get him on it. I don't think it went that high. Miriam said, what's your perception on DeSantis? Generally positive. Generally, I like Ron DeSantis. I didn't like when Mr. A.T., the kickboxer from Romania, came over here with his brother, and Ron DeSantis said, we're going to do an investigation on him based on absolutely nothing. He said, oh, he's not welcome in the state. We don't like those type of people. We're going to do an investigation. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? You can't announce that as a governor. That's one thing he did that I really didn't like, and it has nothing to do with how I feel about Mr. A.T. If he said that about anybody, you can't just say we're going to investigate somebody just because you personally don't like who they are and you're the governor of the state. That was ridiculous. And Byron Donalds co-signed it. So that's the one thing that both of them have said that I really didn't like. That was around March of this year that they did that. Other than that, I'm generally a fan of Ron DeSantis. Now, I think his term's about to be up. So I think Donalds is going to try to run and his wife is going to try to run. As long as Florida stays red, I'm happy. Generally, I'd rather Florida be red than blue. Given what the people on the blue have been trying to say and what the people on the red have been trying to say. A couple more comments, folks, then we'll wrap it up. Tina said, gas is like 60 and a half here in Indiana. What do you mean 60 and a half? What number is that? Angelina said, gas in Louisiana South has $1.99. They ran out of gas. Dolphin said, which phone do you have? My iPhone 14 has been tripping lately. It's not terribly out of date. I got the 13. I got the 13 Pro. So yours is newer than mine. And if mine is not tripping, it just got a little bit slower. You don't realize how slow your phone has gotten until you get a new phone. Then you get the new phone. You're like, damn, my phone was slow as hell. You don't realize how slow it got because it gradually gets slow. It gets slow just a little bit at a time. But now I'm noticing how slow it is, and I'm like, all right, time to get a new phone. I'm like 4 phones behind. I'm not a DeSantis supporter, but I like him better than, who was he running against? Andrew Gillum? No, I wasn't a fan of that guy. So, again, if I got to pick between the two, I'll tell you who I like. Between Kamala and Trump, Trump was obviously the better candidate. Colton said, who else besides Newsom and Harris is going to be a challenger? Nobody. Democrats only got those two right now. AOC is a dark horse, but she's not beating Gavin or Kamala Harris. No way. He said, I think those are our division championship games. No, I thought that already happened. Championship game already happened. That was Georgia against Alabama. This is the bowl. This is the playoff, Keith Jones. I think this is the playoff games, right? College football fans? This is the playoff games that are happening now? At least that's what I thought. Let me look it up on ESPN. I think these are the playoff games, though, folks. So the playoff bracket is James Madison plays Oregon on the 20th. That's tomorrow. The winner plays Texas Tech. Alabama plays Oklahoma tonight. The winner plays Indiana. They're the number 1 seed, Indiana. That's going to be a tough game. Tulane plays Ole Miss tomorrow. The winner plays Georgia. And then Miami plays Texas A&M tomorrow. The winner plays Ohio State. So this is the playoffs. So it's like damn near the NFL. Then January 1st, the first round bye teams, they play a game. That's next week. And then the semifinals are January 8th and 9th. And then the championship is January 19th. Damn, it's like damn near the NFL. Well, they're paying them like it now, so that's what it is. Turner said, I usually skip 4 models. I'm due to upgrade as well. I had a 14 Pro Max. Yeah, so right now it's a 17, right? So I got the 13. So I missed the 14, 15, 16. Now I'm going to get the 17. I'll probably get it around Christmas, maybe this week, maybe next week, whenever I feel like going to the Apple Store. So go Big Red. Carlos said IU's looking strong. They're looking strong, but they could be upset. So we'll see. So everybody, we're going to wrap this one up. I do these live streams 8 a.m. Monday through Friday. I told you I'm trying to shorten these up. We're trying to slim these down to about an hour and 15 minutes, excuse me, or maybe even 60 minutes. I started a little late today, so I went a little bit over, but we need to narrow these down so I can focus on more priorities in business moving forward. So when I set my goals for the next year, I start implementing them before the new year starts. So all of y'all should do the same. So New Year starts in 12 days. Once I start putting down my goals for next year, I start doing them right now. So one of them was I can't let these live streams go too long. I still do the live streams. I just can't let them go too long. So I let some of these go too long earlier this year. But I think this works for many of you anyway, so y'all don't have to jump out while I'm in the middle of it. Leah said, go Dogs. So all y'all got teams in here, go Big Red. So we'll see. We'll see. By this time, well, by Monday, we'll know who won at least the first round. All 4 games is today and tomorrow. So we'll see where it goes, folks. Good luck to y'all cheering for your teams. I will be here next week. Next week is Christmas week. So shout out to all of you who are on vacation now. If this is your last work day of the year, congratulations to you. Congrats on keeping your job throughout the year so that now you go on vacation. Shout out to everybody going on vacation. Next week, I will be here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We will be here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday is Christmas Day. I'm off Thursday. So no live on Thursday, Christmas Day. Question, how many of you will be here Friday? If I go live Friday next week, the day after Christmas, how many of you would be here? Give me a yes or a no if you would be here if I go live on Friday, the day after Christmas. How many of you would be available Friday morning, same time, same place if I do Friday? Okay, so we'll go live Friday. So the only day off next week is Thursday. So we're off next week on Thursday, Christmas Day. We'll reveal as I see over there on Instagram. So most of you said, yeah, a few of you said probably not. Yeah, so Friday we'll be live. I got to check my gym schedule. I think my gym, either way, I'm not going to the gym at 8 o'clock. So sometimes the gym opens later on these days. Hopefully it opens at the normal time so I can keep my normal schedule on Friday. Either way, I will be live Friday. So the only day we're missing next week is Thursday. So next week we're off Thursday, but we're here normal schedule Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. The following week, I'm doing every day normal. New Year's Day is not a holiday to me. So I'm doing after that, we're back to the normal schedule. The next day off, I think, will be next real holiday. Holiday is what? I don't know. It's going to be a while for the next real holiday. Easter is on a Sunday. King Day, I still do normal. What's the next holiday? In the new year, what's the first real holiday is what? Memorial Day? So we got like 5 straight days, 5 straight months. Yeah, Memorial Day. The first real holiday is Memorial Day. New Year's, I don't count as a holiday. New Year's is a normal day for me. I work just like normal on New Year's Day. So we got 5 straight months, folks. So everybody, I will see you all Monday morning, normal time. Next week, everything normal except for Thursday will be off. I'll see everybody Monday. Everybody have a great weekend. Make sure you text me at my number, 305-384-6894. The number's in my bio for those of you who didn't catch it. It's in my bio or in the pinned comment. Text me at that number. I'll see you all Monday morning. Everybody have a great Friday. Do your Christmas shopping. Work on your game. We are out of here.